Hi, 670. A little change from what we've been doing. This is still from the Ready workbook. It's still test prep related. A lot of what we've been doing, or pretty much all of what we've been doing, has been content related, but we're going to switch it up. And moving forward, uh, as you all know, in case you didn't get the announcement, we're doing 2 lessons a week. Moving forward, one of those lessons per week is going to be on grammar, spelling, punctuation, things of that nature. It's going to be very useful and it will improve your writing because writing using correct grammar, spelling, and punctuation is very important. So, this lesson is going to be on subject and object pronouns, and this is on page 241 of your Ready workbook. So, I'm just going to give you a few seconds to get that out. Or if you don't have your workbook, you can go to the lesson and access the text right there. Or as a matter of fact, um, if you need to pause the video to get your book out, you can do so. So I'm just going to continue. So, subject and object pronouns. A pronoun takes the place of a noun. And when we say a noun, it could be a person, a place. So a pronoun takes the place of a noun. A subject pronoun is used as the subject of a sentence. An object pronoun is used as the direct object of a verb or as the object of a preposition. It is important to use them correctly when speaking and writing. So, in the sentence, I am learning about the Mongolian ruler Genghis Khan, I is the subject, right? In the sentence, the Mongol people admired him, the word him in this sentence is the direct object of the verb, right? Because the verb is admired, right? Him is a direct object of this verb, admired, right? Him is the person who is being admired. So the word him is the direct object of the verb. In the sentence, this fearsome warrior was a hero to them, the word them in this sentence is the object of preposition. So subject and object pronouns can be singular or plural. So let's look at a list of singular subject pronouns. I, you, he, she, or it. The plural subject pronouns are we, you, and they, right? So notice how you is used for both singular and plural, right? Um, Everything else, right? Instead of saying I, if we want to say plural, we would say we, the plural version. And instead of he, she, or it, if it's more than one person and you're talking about other people, you would say they, right? Let's talk about object pronouns. A list of singular object pronouns could be me, you, him, her, or it. A list of plural object pronouns could be us, you, or them. A pronoun can be part of a compound subject or compound object. Compound subjects and objects are made up of two or more nouns, pronouns, or both. If the pronoun I or me is included, it usually comes last. Let's look at an example. In the sentence, Trisha and I are reading about ancient China. I is the compound subject, right? Remember, compound subjects and objects are made up of two or more nouns, pronouns, or both. So in this case, there are two nouns here, Trisha and I, right? A lot of people make the mistake of saying Trisha and me, or they might say Ryan and me went to the movies, or me and Ryan went to the movies. That is incorrect. The The correct way to say that would be Ryan and I, or in this case, Trisha and I, not me and Trisha, right? Compound object. Let's see what that looks like in a sentence. The teacher assigned the topic to Fred and me. So in this case, the compound object is me, right? In this case, we would use the word me because something is being given to me. It's not me doing something, right? So in another example of how this could be, let's say, the teacher gave straight A's to John and me. You wouldn't say that the teacher gave straight A's to John and I, right? Because if you took the John out of that sentence, it wouldn't make sense if you say the teacher gave straight A's to I, right? That would not make sense. So when something is given to you, you're going to say the teacher assigned the topic to Fred and me, not the teacher assigned the topic to Fred and I. Now, if we're talking about something that I am doing, right? You would say Fred and I went to the movies, not me and Fred went to the movies. Because once again, if you take out the Fred, if you said me went to the movies, that would be incorrect. That's why if you say me and Fred went to the movies, it's incorrect. Because if you take out the and Fred, it would just be me went to the movies. That would not make sense. The correct way to say it is Fred and I went to the movies. All right. Now, let's look at these sentences right here. We're going to cross out each underlined word or phrase. And above it, we're going to write the correct subject or pronoun to replace it. And let's look at our hint. The pronouns it and you can be used as either a subject or an object. But all other pronouns are used only as a subject or an object. Let's be careful to use them correctly. Right? So, many historians have written about Genghis Khan. Often, these historians, right, instead of writing these historians, we can replace it with a pronoun they, right? So in this case, they is a subject pronoun, right? So instead of these historians, you can say often they describe Genghis Khan. Instead of writing Genghis Khan, we could write him, which is an object pronoun, right? They describe him as a cruel warrior who captured land for the people of Mongolia. However, this fierce leader, now instead of writing this fierce leader, we're talking about a person, right? We can just say, however, he, which is a subject pronoun, he also united the people of Mongolia. We're talking about other people, right? He united them, right? That's an object pronoun. You wouldn't say he united they, right? He would say he united them, right? That's an object pronoun. Tricia became interested in the Mongolian Empire, and her and me, we're going to cross that out, right? Because that's incorrect. Once again, if you took out the and me and you just wrote and her wrote a report, would that make sense? No. So the correct way to say this is and she and I wrote a report on the empire. You can cross out the empire and write it. So the new sentence would be Tricia became interested in the Mongolian Empire and she and I wrote a report on it. Right? Now, if you just choose one of these, you can see that the sentence will be grammatically correct. If you take out the and I, if you read it as and she wrote a report on it, that sounds correct. If you take out the she and you just read it as and I wrote a report on it, that would make sense too. Also, instead of writing she and I, you could also write we, and we wrote a report on it. Fred helped, instead of writing Trisha and I, you can write us. Fred helped us on the research, right? The word us is a plural object pronoun, right? Fred helped us on the research. Fred, me, and Trisha learned a lot. Once again, this is incorrect, right? You would say we learned a lot, or you could say Fred, Trisha, and I learned a lot. So these two right here that we crossed out were grammatically incorrect. Everything else that we crossed out, it wasn't that it was grammatically incorrect. We simply were replacing them with a subject or object pronoun. All right. So that's basically what this lesson is on. Refer back to this page as a model and as a reference. And for, excuse me, for your classwork, you are going to do questions 1, 2, 3, and 4, where you're simply choosing the subject or object pronoun that is grammatically correct to fill in the blanks. Your exit ticket is going to be number 5. Your homework is going to be this sheet, which is due Monday, April 13th. It's practicing the same type of skill of subject and object pronouns. It's a similar exercise. You are simply filling in the blank with the correct subject or object pronoun, and you can choose from your word bank right here. And as always, to complete the assignments, you go to assessments, right? And in assessments, you're simply just going to type your answers and number your responses. All right, you don't have to rewrite the entire sentence. All right, and that is all for today's lesson.